Look Outreach is underwritten by the generous support of Munter Enterprises. Family owned and operated since 1972, integrity is important, as our family name is on every project. Our word is our bond. Munter Enterprises. Just build it.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, you know, we're always talking about practical solutions when it comes to education. Because if you were my age, you went through school and you studied things that probably didn't have a lot of practical applications at the time, but then you soon found out when you went into the real world what it was like. Well, you might recall that last time Dr. Duffy was on, we were talking about this, and she mentioned to me at the time that the new Vice President of Academic Affairs, John Jablonski, was really setting a lot of very interesting priorities in terms of offering some of these practical solutions for students at SUNY Adirondack. So guess what? That's who they are. Joining me today again is Dr. Duffy, who's the president of SUNY Adirondack, and John Jablonski is the vice president, academic affairs. Welcome. Very nice to have you back, and very nice to meet you, John.
Likewise.
You've been in academia for about 30 years, you said.
I have. Yeah.
Why that career?
You know, it's funny. Life takes twists and turns. But I started out studying engineering, and I wound up teaching engineering, and that led to my career in academic administration. So you never know where you're going to end up.
I think anybody who chooses to go into academia is really blessed in a lot of ways. You know, teaching is just, there's so many different aspects to it and so many different rewards, right? So, you know, as a pro, 30 years in education, when you came to SUNY Adirondack, what did you spot and what did you want to do?
Well, the first thing that I spotted, Chris and I knew each other before I came to SUNY Adirondack, and you know, from an arm's length, I saw that there were great things going on there. You know, new buildings, enrollment growth, innovation, and you know, it struck me that that was a perfect time to come into the organization and the academic affairs side and do some things with the academic programs that matched up.
Right. Now that probably locked up very closely to the things that you and I were talking about, or the things that you and Mike Lenz were talking about on Beyond the Headlines. What categories did you and John kind of look at and say, you want to know something, I think we could do more. We should set priorities in this path.
Absolutely.
What were they?
Well, so first, you know, we want to make sure that students have very specific guided pathways to through their education, and knowing that such a large percentage of our students are coming to SUNY Adirondack to get their first year, 2 years under their belt, and then move on to a four-year institution. We wanted to make sure that they knew very specifically which courses they need to take so that that transfer is seamless, that they start as junior status, which is what students intend to do. And so, you know, John and the faculty and his leadership really looked at different ways to structure those pathways to help students. And then on the other end of that, how do we create and respond to the workforce needs of our community, and looking at some of those hot fields and whether SUNY Adirondack can provide the curriculum to help prepare more students.
Right, gotcha. You know, it seems to me that there's two prongs to this. One, you kind of covered them both here, but let's go back into each one individually. One is identifying the categories that you know are growth categories for someone at that very sort of exploration, discovery age, 18 years old or whatever. You may think you want to know, you know what you want to do, but you know you're probably going to change your mind. But identify those categories. But the other thing is the counseling side, right? Which is a student comes into you thinking they know what they want to do. You're providing access to that career, but guiding them as well, right? So let's dig into that. Let's talk about the career paths that you were mentioning to me in terms of internet security or the healthcare industry or whatever.
Yeah, you mentioned two big ones, Jesse. Right now, everything with the internet and cyberspace is just mushrooming.
Yeah, I bet.
And so our faculty, we've got some great faculty in that area. We've already established some good programs in IT networking, and it was a natural add-on now for us to move into the cybersecurity. Sort of, how do you protect that network with firewalls and you know, all of the sort of hardware side that goes with protecting what we do on the internet. And then at the same time, there's the software side of all of that cyberspace stuff. And we've got a new program in information security for those people that are building the computer programs and the databases. So, what a great way for us to provide opportunities to local students who want to get into those burgeoning new fields.
Well, you know what? That's certainly the growth area, right? You hear about it every day in news and international news, right? And of course, healthcare is big.
Yeah, people are always going to need health care, and especially now the technology has ramped up to the point where people are living longer, people are expecting better quality of life and better health care. So we recently developed, earlier this year, a new program in health education studies. We've already had and we continue to have a great nursing program, but nursing isn't for everybody, great profession. But there are a lot of other opportunities for people to go on and work in healthcare and to transfer into bachelor's degree programs in healthcare. And our new program gives them a way to do that.
Right, got you. And then one thing that really struck me before we went on air, we were discussing this, that from orientation on, every single student has the opportunity to be hooked up with a counselor to sort of discover options about what they're thinking about, but also explore other options that they may not even be aware of until they're exposed to it. And the other key was that there's still a large percentage in our communities where students coming into the SUNY Adirondack system are the first ones in their family, which is really, really something. Well, I really applaud all of your efforts, for the things that you and I talk about with practical education, but somebody with your vision, John, someone like yourself comes in to the school system and, says, wait a minute, it's healthcare, it's cybersecurity, it's information. And what you're doing is you're creating well-rounded students.
And I'd hasten to say we're facilitating that process. Our faculty are the experts in those areas.
Of course, sure.
Very, very proud to work with the great faculty members that we have at SUNY Adirondack.
Well, John, it's a real pleasure to meet you. Thank you for coming in.
My pleasure,
and Dr.
Jesse.
Duffy, great to see you.
Good to
and
see
I
you.
didn't call you Kristine. That was good. That was
That's
pretty
okay.
good.
I'm easy.
Thanks, Kristine. Good to see both of you. Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.
Look Outreach is underwritten by the generous support of Munter Enterprises. Family owned and operated since 1972, integrity is important, as our family name is on every project. Our word is our bond. Munter Enterprises. Just build it.